Great start by Bradley Ray in the powder blue pole position bike, but he gets swallowed up by both Jordan Weaving and Catherine Green off the start. Number 1, Kyle Ryde, also gets buried in the pack as they peel safely through Redgate and then down across the oil spill at the bottom of the hill. Bradley Ray looks keen to nab the lead. Catherine Green tries to follow him through, but it's Bradley Ray surely making a move to the front. And he grabs the advantage over Jordan Weaving. Catherine Green third. Luke Hedger forcing a wide at McLean's, moves through to nab that third place. Catherine's not done yet, nor is Kyle Ryde on the 250 4-stroke Motor 3 bike number 1, the defending champion. And then this brilliant move down the hill on the next lap. Catherine Green sweeps around the outside of a slightly twitchy Jordan Weaving, and then a terrific battle develops for 4th place between the two rivals for the championship, Luke Hedger number 22 and number 40, the 14-year-old from Chester, Joe Francis. And they really go at it hammer and tongs on the final lap. Joe Francis makes a breakthrough, and then this happens down into the Fogarty S's. He loses the front and crashes to the earth. A win then for Bradley Ray. That's his 4th win out of 4 races in the Motorstar Championship. A great 2nd place for Catherine Green and 3rd place for Jordan Weaving. 15 laps ahead of the National Superstock 1000cc Championship runners in blazing sunshine on a beautiful Sunday morning here at Donington Park. And off 2nd place on the grid is the Ducati Panigale of Lee Johnston that grabs the lead, but a multiple collision into the first turn brings out the pace car for a couple of laps. Johnston comes under pressure for American PJ Jacobson, while the championship feudsters Keith Farmer and Jason O'Halloran go hammer and tongs for the rostrum position, and Joe Burns joins in. The tall 20-year-old Geordie on the number 53 Kawasaki squeezes his way through to 3rd place. Adam Jenkinson, number 11 on the Paget's Honda, also in the mix. But then Joe Burns goes down at the Melbourne hairpin, leaving Keith Farmer there in 3rd place. Joe can't believe what he's done. Here comes Adam Jenkinson carving his way through to nab that final rostrum position. But Keith Farmer straight back on the Cheshireman, and Victor Cox, recovering from an early excursion on the green Kawasaki, is also in the mix. And it's the big Wiltshireman who forces his way through inside Keith Farmer's Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki and grabs that 3rd place. Meanwhile, coming into Goddard's, the last lap, Lee Johnston has fended up all Jacobs had advances until this point, and then he gets it wrong coming out of the final turn. Jacobson takes to the grass, and the Taiko Suzuki grabs the honours by 1/1000th of a second. What a race. Ben Burke makes a brilliant start on the red and white seat and tuning Yamaha from 2nd place on the grid in the National Superstock 600 Championship, and dives into Redgate in the lead. Lee Jackson gets squeezed out, and as they drop downhill into the old hairpin, it's a move by Jimmy Rose, number 28 on the Motor Breakers Yamaha, that pulls him through to 2nd, but only briefly. Lee Jackson responds straight away, and then through the Melbourne loop, the front 5 riders start to disappear as Matt Paolo crashes out and wins himself. High, nasty fall there. Meanwhile, Lee Jackson starts trying to make a nuisance of himself, gets the better Australian Ben Burke. A huge moment on the exit for the Foggy S's, momentarily slows down James Rose and gives Josh Wainwright the chance to move through into 3rd place. Lee Jackson continues to make a nuisance of himself as they go through Redgate right behind the red and white machine of the seat and tuning Yamaha. And then Jackson makes this brilliant move, sets it up down Craner Curves, dives early for the apex and goes through into the lead. Then a faller down at the bottom at Starkey means that the red flag has to come out, and Lee Jackson on the Chris Walker Racing School Kawasaki has closed the gap at the top of the table. The 2nd Triumph Triple Challenge of the weekend here at Donington Park, and not a good start on pole position for Rob Guyver, the championship leader. Great start from the man alongside him, yesterday's race winner James Egan, and it's the 21-year-old South African who rattles through Redgate in the lead on bike number 81. Chrissy Rouse, number 55, fighting with Tom Wheaton for second place. Rouse has a big moment, a huge moment as he exits Melbourne hairpin, goes grass tracking and has to sort himself out there. Further downfield, Goddard catches people out as they clip the curb and go down. Two fallers there. Tom Wheaton, a huge moment coming out of the Melbourne hairpin, allows Phil Atkinson, the South African, to pounce and move through into second place. Number 13, Rob Guyver, only 8th on the first lap, regroups and starts to move through, pinches third place from Tom Wheaton at Redgate. And then he moves in on Phil Atkinson, number 5, and brilliantly slices beneath him at Coppice and holds him off as they come down a hill. And then at the old hairpin on the next lap, James Egan loses the lead. Rob Guyver snatches it from him, side by side as they go through Starkeys and up the hill towards McLean's. But Rob Guyver has snatched victory, his 9th of the season, to cement his hold on the Triumph Triple Challenge Championship of 2012. Off pole position, it's the black bike of number 848 Lee Johnston heading for Redgate, but getting outgunned by number 34 Robbie Brown and number 121 Spike Edwards as they turn into the third. Great start by Ed Smith on that distinctive pale orange and blue bike number 8. Robbie Brown has the lead early on. Lee Johnston pokes his way through a Melbourne hairpin past Spike Edwards into second place. And then we have a faller. So easily done. We've seen so many people go down there. That was number 69 Pete Hasler. Robbie Brown gets caught by snaking number 848 Lee Johnston, and then once again Johnston pulls the pass down the hill to the Melbourne hairpin. A lot of people don't like this tighter part of Donington Park, but it makes for some good passing manoeuvres if you don't mind getting late on the brakes and having the bike snake around underneath you. Robbie Brown has another go back, but it doesn't quite work. And then we lose the big fella Scott Adam goes down on the Quelch Racing 848. And meanwhile, Lee Johnston, well, he kind of showboats his way around the last lap, just gets himself a little bit too squirrely, but decides there's still time for a quick wheelie, and finally wins for the second time this weekend in the Ducati 848 Challenge at a canter ahead of Robbie Brown, the slightly frustrated new champion, in second place. Well done, General Lee. Glad to have you back.
Well, it was 10 laps, it was always going to be fast and furious, and from the outset the pole position man, Scott Lorry and James Neave, made his intention clear. Roger Lovelock, number 49 on the inside, knew that he had to get a good result in this one. As it turned out, it was not to be. A massive incident between Ian Drown and Gary Smith made the rage of both drivers evident as they threw their gloves at the spectators. Terrific action from Johan Reuterholt and Aki Aalto, the Swedish driver who does not have the use of his legs. He rides the entire thing with his upper body and hands. He was to push on and get a podium, but the battle at the front was enlivened somewhat by Sean Hegarty and Callum Lawson having started from the back of the grid due to the fact that they had a poor retirement yesterday. They fought all the way through to claim a brilliant runner-up spot at the end, and it was when Lovelock and Lawrence acknowledged that they had a problem that Hegarty made the most of it. The coming together with Reuterholt did not deter Hegarty, the number 33 outfit, forging ahead in the closing stages. Andy Peach too was involved with Ben Holland and John Clark and Stuart Graham. They were 3 abreast at one point going over the hill towards the Melbourne Loop, but Scott Lorry made no mistake as he headed for the checkered flag, and it was a stunning win.